Hello, people. All right, but defend America first. Go over this. But all the while, we are voting more money to prepare to defend this hemisphere against all comers. We are dissipating strength by sending huge quantities of guns, planes, warships across the ocean. Now the interventionalists are demanding that the latest type of planes and tanks, our secret bomb sight, and other indispensable war material to be sent abroad. There are tragic lessons written over the ravaged soil of Europe, lessons which we must learn if we hope to escape the fate of the conquered democracies abroad. And the most powerful lesson of all is this: national defense does not consist of arms, munition, and trained manpower. It requires just as much a nation and a people whose social, economic, and spiritual house is in order. Ours is not. We do well, this is meet our home dangers. We do well to remember that communism, fascism, and Nazism did not rear their ugly heads in Europe because the people of Russia, Italy, and Germany wanted to live under barbaric despotism. Now, I'm going to throw in a little history lesson here without naming names, but there was a certain organization, you could say family, that owned the Bank of England during that time that, all right, America's already established. So, as an antithesis to America, he sponsored the War of the Bolsheviks and the overthrow of the last family, Nicholas, and killing all of his family, except for that one lady who might or might not have been his daughter. Who knows? And then all of the communist leaders had changed their last names. We'll give you that. Uh, they were not from the region, they were from a Middle Eastern region country. So, and they also funded Nazi Hitler. Specifically, Standard Oil. I mean, they're over there developing synthetic oils and fuels for these people, as well as the banks. It ain't just Prescott Daddy Bush that was the only bank that was over there. There's a whole bunch of them. Vatican was making money off of it. That's all. It's all documented, people. This is just know who's really behind this. Let's not sugarcoat it and go to one group or another. It's anybody who is in a position to try to suck and drain even more power, wealth, or whatever it is out of you that they're trying to get out of you. They're going to continue to do it unless you understand some of these things. All right. Now, I was there. Okay. How can we prepare to meet the menace of totalitarianism? We cannot do it, as we are now, by handing over desperately needed implements of defense to the British. We cannot meet the menace of dictatorship by coddling and appeasing the profiteering minority of industrialists. Make that majority now, because remember, Mr. Obama said any company can donate any amount of money to any candidate they want. Yep, just as long as it's above and profit, right? Yeah. Anyway, so we ain't got to worry about the corporations being an industrialist, uh, being a more minority this time. They're the majority. All right. All right. By coddling and appeasing the profiteering minority of industrialists into making guns and tanks and planes and ships for us only when they think the profits will be high enough. The way to meet the challenge of brutalitarianism is to buckle down to the job of strengthening of our own defenses, internal as well as external, social and economic as well as military. Economic, wow. Social, wow. Those are big words here that need to be addressed. But maybe again, they're not going to be addressed because they're planning on wiping out 90 something percent of us. They've written it in stone. Uh, Unless they're all just a bunch of loose nuts running around and they still live in their mother's basements. Who knows, you know? Anyway, democracy, duties to man. Here in America, agriculture is entering the third decade of depression. 10 million men remain unemployed. The needy age struggle along with a pittance which denies self respect. And young, the nation's most precious asset, has little to look forward to beyond enforced service in the Army. A young man who earns $30 a week will have to take a 75% cut in pay during his year of compulsory military service. But some businessmen are demanding and getting a higher and higher ceiling for profits arising out of defense orders. Such a distorted method of dealing with two groups in society will play a powerful fifth column in lowering our national morale and weakening our resistance to attack. These are the problems which confront America and confront us today and here. They are more real, more menacing to the future of democracy and our way of life than all the propaganda scares of imminent invasion. Now remember, it's going to be aliens too now. Oh, hey, that. No, could be Iran. They asked for just give us the damn fuel. And we won't enrich anything. Forget the fact that the fuel is a different isotope, and that's not what they use to make the weapons with. So the problem could have been solved. No. Then we got this Mad Hat Catter in North Korea. Who knows what this guy's going to do next? You can't look at this guy wrong or something. All right. All right, build an impregnable defense. Our patriotic course is clear. We must set ourselves resolutely to the task of building an impregnable America with mighty military might, economic security, and spiritual well being. But we cannot do these things if we allow ourselves to be whipped and buffeted about by hysteria. We cannot make ourselves strong internally by shutting our eyes to the problems at home. We cannot make ourselves strong militarily by stripping of our own defense in order to support the interventionist, vague, and shifting frontier in Europe. We cannot preserve our American freedom by participating in war, because as soon as we do, we will become a dictatorship, just like the dictatorships abroad, whose destruction would be our announced war objective. No way house on war's highway. A subtle, diabolically clever, and powerful effort to sneak up on our blind side has been going on for long, weary months. We are told in 11 different ways that we can have our cake and eat it too. We are asked to believe that we can play with fire and not get burned. We are sure that there is a halfway house on the road to war. This is false doctrine. It violates every rule of straight thinking, and it flies in the face of history. Unless the citizens of America wake up quickly and exert their influence to stop our progress toward war, it will come. It is my unshakable conviction, after weighing all the facts, that we must stay out of war in Europe and Asia if we, government of the people, by the people, and for the people, is not to perish from this earth. The people of America can still win this fight for peace and freedom. They will win if they notify their senators and representatives that they no longer fooled by the trick phrases like steps short of war, that they are committed to preserving and strengthening democracy by building an impregnable military defense and a dynamic and economic order. Keep America out of war. The two old parties have evaded this momentous issue in their platforms. Their presidential candidates see eye to eye on foreign policy. This deprives the people of an effective choice in their presidential campaign on the supreme issue. But the people can exercise their will on the question of going to war in Europe or Asia by electing men to the House and Senate who will vote against a foreign overseas war. If we succeed, we can make democracy function in the last great area where it still lives by our strength and over successes assume a position from which we can offer hope and leadership to the war-weary peoples of the world. I ask those who are interested in the fight to stay out of war in the old world to write to the America First Committee, Chicago, Illinois.